Hello and welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Cultured Nerd Podcast. This week, episode 18, we're actually going to be going over, as we lead up to SnyderCon this weekend, we wanted to kind of talk about Zack Snyder's trilogy, the body of work that has been captivating fandoms for the past decade, really. And we want to talk about what the movement means to people, what it started as, what it is now, and kind of what we hope to see out of this weekend, with the SnyderCon tagline being full circle and the AFSP being the massive focus. We wanted to raise attention to it and then talk about it. So thank you for joining us today, and we will begin in a second.
Oh, hello, everybody, and welcome to The Cultured Nerd. Just so everybody knows, me and Taylor have done a secret podcast. No one will ever hear it, where we just ranted and raved at Capcom of Japan to please make better Mega Man games. Nobody gets to hear that. Moments ago, Taylor just had me watch the Flash trailer, the newest one that just came out, and it's so funny that Snyder is still in the conversation. I just saw a trailer where his work is fully represented front and center. The whole General Zod storyline is from Zack Snyder.
And not even that. So earlier today, there was another an interview with Michael Shannon, who played General Zod, and this quote came out that he basically said that he would not reprise the role without Zack's blessing. So let me grab the when he was approached to do the role and they got the script ready and they wanted to do General Zod being like the alternate timeline, everything, the quote is, but I talked to Andy about it and I'm like, Andy, look, I just want to get Zack's blessing on this because it doesn't feel right without that. And Zack, to his credit, was very understanding. He gave me his blessing and I went to do it. So for everyone who's saying, oh, they did this all without Zack's knowledge, he was aware. He was aware because the people that came into the project, Zack, Ben Affleck, Michael Shannon, even Ezra Miller, they all wanted to do this project, but only with Zack's blessing.
Yeah, and it speaks to his relationships with everybody. The fact that they would even come to him and speak with him speaks to, like, these people will come back whenever he wants them. He doesn't want them right now, and that's fine. You know what the other thing this trailer really screamed of? And it's so funny because you said that this trailer gave direction to everything. Taylor, this is the world's finest movie you wanted from it's another timeline world's finest. As I watched that trailer, this is not a Flash movie. This is a Justice League movie. I mean, there's basically 4 members of a Justice League. After this movie, the last sentence is, hey, maybe we should get more of us together to do this. So I'm so happy to see Keaton in this regard of Batman. Like, this is the biggest what if. What if we did get a Justice League based on that universe? And this is as close as we're going to get to it.
Yeah, I mean, initially there was supposed to be a lot of spinoffs coming off of this movie, a lot of things that were supposed to come of it. And exactly that. They were supposed to be setting up a new Justice League and leading into a Crisis movie. Obviously, that changed with the former individuals who were in charge no longer even being in the conversation. The ending is changing, things like that. But the overall vibe of that movie is still the need for a team and the need for this universe. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, and I also think that this is the way that we need to be thinking about all of these movies that are coming up. And I think that in these movies, you know, the next Superman movie absolutely is going to have Superman, but I think it's going to have like 3 other main superheroes. I think that we're going to start getting all of these movies are going to feel like little group, big group. And I think we're too focused on big group because I think we're going to get more of these things. This movie has 3, 4, maybe even more superheroes that are all going to be featured. Not only that, and they're villains.
Mm-hmm. But kind of just to get back onto what we're talking about. So The Flash trailer came out, obviously, and also a big thing is that people don't realize is that a lot of the behind the scenes, the camera team, the special effects team, a lot of the people that Andy is using on this film are Zack's people. And that's fantastic. So there is a level of continuity there between productions because like a good chunk of everyone who does Zack's VFX are doing Andy's VFX. So that's a fantastic little bit.
So as we see this movie now on the horizon, it just speaks to how weird this relationship is with Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers, and not with James Gunn. They're cool, but just the way that these ideas are still in the ebb and flow. Today's episode is about getting to SnyderCon. How far back do you take us, Taylor? How far do we get to go back in our time machine?
So SnyderCon itself, this is the second SnyderCon, and the big thing about this SnyderCon, because this SnyderCon kind of refers back to the original event that Zack did, and we had one a few years ago where Zack did his director's cut trilogy at the Art Center in Pasadena, and that initial one he did a screening of oh my gosh, I just forgot his zombie movie.
Dawn of the
did a screening of Dawn of the Dead, Watchmen, and then BVS. And it was the weekend of director's cuts, and that was what everyone considered the first SnyderCon. And this event, this was prior to the announcement of Zack Snyder's Justice League, it was prior to any of that. So when he went to this event and started doing his Q&As, a lot of details about Zack Snyder's Justice League came out. He would answer questions like, "Oh, what happened here?" And he said, and then one of them, I remember the internet lost its mind when he said that the reason Superman succumbs to the anti-life equation was because Darkseid murders Lois Lane, and that was when he first said it, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, that's why Bad Superman exists." And so shortly after that, the following year, he did the Man of Steel watch party where he formally announced Zack Snyder's Justice League is coming. Then the rest is history. But from the days of the release of Justice League, it was almost like the first day, like the day it came out. Sean Mayer, the individual from Ireland that we've had on the show a couple of times, he tweeted, "Release the Snyder Cut," and that started the snowball rolling, where people started to say, Zack's personal tragedy, everything that happened with Autumn, that was unfortunate, but what the studio did and how they handled the situation, saying that Zack was stepping away, having Joss Whedon come in, redoing most of his film, all of that was not a thing. Shouldn't
made the film worse.
Yeah.
It's terrible. The scenes where the reshoots look like they're wearing Halloween costumes. It's not good.
It's not good at all. And the movie sucked. People didn't like it. A lot of people who did see it and tried to like justify that it was this or that. And one of the biggest tragedies of it all was that even the people who work with Zack said that maybe 40% or less of the movie is actually his, but they still put Zack Snyder's name on it, saying it was his movie, which it wasn't. After a few years of fighting, the fans got rewarded with the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League. During that time, the movement circled around not only the release of this film, but raising money for the AFSP. Because for those who are unaware, which at this point I'm not sure who that would be, honestly, because the audience, everyone knows what happened to Autumn Snyder. The unfortunate tragedy of everything that happened to her was in March of 2017. Autumn had committed suicide, and this was during the final stretch of Zack finishing Justice League. The film's principal photography was done. It was post-editing. It was finishing the CGI. The movie was done. And she passed away, and the family tragedy broke Zack. But he still continued to work. He still continued to be there present. People noticed that he even showed up for the Wonder Woman premiere, visibly upset, visibly like putting on a strong face, but there was tragedy behind the scenes that people were not aware of. Her passing sparked the Snyder Cut movement to raise money for the AFSP, the American Society of the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. The goal was to help people like Autumn and help people who need help. And Zack's movies did reflect this. Zack Snyder's Justice League was dedicated to Autumn. There was even the AFSP billboard that was put into the movie in the scene in Central City. I mean, hell, even Cyborg's own story arc with the I'm not broken, I'm not alone, it was still echoing what Zack was feeling about what happened with his daughter. The AFSP has, I believe, raised maybe $1 million at this point, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure what the exact number is. But as we lead towards SnyderCon this weekend is a 3-day event. Man of Steel and BVS are going to be shown at the Art Center in Pasadena. And then the AMC City Walk is going to be doing the first ever IMAX presentation of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Following each one of these screenings will be a Q&A session with Zack and whoever does accompany him. So if it's members of the cast and crew like last time, there will be people present. The reality of this situation was that Zack put the announcement, everyone exploded in excitement, and then within minutes of the tickets going on sale, I think it was 4.5 minutes, they sold out the full weekend. And these weren't just average movie tickets. I think each ticket was close to $40 to $50 because it was not only the ticket, but it was also a donation towards the AFSP. So they did. It was a little bit more of an expensive endeavor, but it was something that was put out there. Sold out almost instantly. And even in the comments here, South Cali guy pointed out, wanted to get tickets for the Full Circle. I live 20 minutes from both the Art Center and the AMC City Walk. If any announcement is made, I hope at least for Jail to get limited release in theaters. I 100% hope that as well. I mean, we know that Zack Snyder's Justice League never got the theatrical treatment. It was 100% a HBO Max property. And there were a lot of fan events that did do their own screenings that were able to do it as charity events only. But they were lots of red tape, lots of trickiness to try to get those done. Here it is. Yeah. The tickets for Man of Steel and BVS were $150 each, and Zack Snyder's Justice League was $175. So it was a much more expensive, but they were things that were with it. With all of that said, the Zack Snyder's Justice League trilogy does mean a lot to a lot of different people. I did bring on a couple of people to join us today. Andy over at Multiverse of Color and Screen Rant, as well as Prime. I don't see Prime in the background. He put himself on mute and muted his camera. He may pop in a bit, but it is what it is. But with the Zack Snyder's trilogy, a lot of people took from different things from it. I know, Michael, you weren't a huge fan of Man of Steel for various reasons, but I personally loved Man of Steel. And you and I, one of the things that we shared together was the unfortunate car ride where I found out I was adopted. You were in the backseat of the car with me.
It's like a crazy story that it just happened. I just happened to be there on this trip at this moment when we had to talk about why we weren't going to see that old woman. It's a crazy thing that I was just there for.
Yeah, and I remember when it happened, there was a lot of arguing and shouting, and you're just sitting in the back seat, sinking into the seat, just like, I'm not here, and you just kept sinking into it. Shortly after that, when we got back to California, I did have a conversation with my dad about this, and that conversation was very reminiscent to what happened in Man of Steel with Clark and Pa Kent about the whole, can we just pretend that I'm your son? Can we just pretend that this whole conversation is not happening? So when the movie occurred, when I saw it in theaters, I had immediate flashbacks about that relationship, and it really hit home for me. So it was a very emotional movie for me. And I honestly, I loved Man of Steel. I thought it was a fantastic depiction of a very contemporary take on Superman. Superman himself grappling with his own struggles, with his dad saying the world's not ready for you yet. When the world is ready, you'll change the world. And then even with like the invasion of General Zod and him saying we're gonna do what we're doing to hunt down the rogue Kryptonian, the first thing that Clark does is he goes to his local church and is talking to the priest about what he should do. This was not the Superman that people knew. This is not the Superman that was the all-encompassing version of good. This was the Superman that was very much in his infancy, not knowing how to be the hero that the world needed him to be. and he was looking for advice. So there was a lot of things in this movie that really hit home for me. And I think honestly, one of the coolest moments I think someone pointed out was that the first time Zack had Superman say anything in the Superman outfit, it was when he was punching General Zod in the face saying, "You think you can threaten my mother?" And that was the first time Superman says anything in the costume. Everything else was him standing there majestically flying, and then back as Clark Kent, and then nothing until he's like, "Okay, Superman time," and he like punches General Zod through like the train yards and just like just wrecks him. But this was a very unique movie, and it did spawn a very strong fan movement. Zack Snyder's fans started with Man of Steel. BVS came out. BVS was one of those films that was very critically divided. Then the director's cut came out, and everyone who didn't like it then all of a sudden realized how good the movie actually was supposed to be, then loved it, and then everyone got on board from there. But I remember this, and this is for you, Andy. The day that they announced Man of Steel sequel, Andy was in the audience for Comic-Con when they announced it. So tell me a little bit about that announcement and what it was like when they announced the Man of Steel sequel.
Yeah, I remember, and I was like, so like, because I had camped out for Hall H, and those are not always comfortable. But we got in there because I was like, I want to be there because Man of Steel was my first Comic-Con panel I ever went to, big Comic-Con panel I ever went to. I camped out for Hall H, and So I was like, the next year, I'm like, I have to be back. I have to see Zack again. I had to see Henry Cavill.
How many people do you have to go with in line? Because you probably have to rotate. Like, you can't lose your spot. So you're with another person so you can go to the bathroom. But then you need a third guy to watch while you're sleeping. So how many people were in your group?
So people are going to think that I'm so lame or that I'm so lucky. The first time I just befriended people who were in the line. Like, I didn't have a sleeping bag or anything like that. All I used was my Comic-Con bag, and then like a pizza box as a pillow. And then the second year, I had some more friends that I could line up with. But I don't remember. Again, it was almost 10 years ago. So but I think we were at least 4 people. I remember.
Would you say that waiting in line like this is a young man's game? Would you say it's a young man's game? Could you do it now?
I could probably do it until I'm probably 35, and then I will probably be done. But I remember we got in there, and because we knew Zack was going to be there, and there was going to be something. And I remember, I had my, because they didn't tell us to put on our phones. But I remember he comes on stage, and then he brings out Harry Lennox. And
I actually I want to cut you there just so I can pull up images and explain that moment, because this happened was July 2013. It was just a few months after Man of Steel came out. So
only a month. Everything went really quickly.
So following Zack Snyder coming out on stage, he says he brings out Harry Lennox, and I think the audience cheers. Everyone was excited. And what did he say? I'm going to have Harry read something for everyone. His voice is way better than mine. So then Harry opens up his little notepad right there that he has, and reads this line of dialogue. "I want you to remember, Clark, in all the years that come, in all your most private moments, I want you to remember my hand at your throat. I want you to remember the one man who beat you." Then the scene went completely dark, and then the screen lit up behind him with the Batman.
Wait, I don't want to interrupt you, but because I have to because I have to sell like how epic this was, because so here's what happened. So like, everyone is like freaking out, like the room goes dark, and all we see for it is a silver S, and like some kind of like stoic music or whatever, and people are like, like woo, and then slowly the bat fades into the background, and I lost my complete like crap. Like I think I think one of the reasons Taylor was representing me about this, because I filmed the announcement. I don't know why that is like my most viewed video on my YouTube channel, but like I lost my crap and the whole room did. But that moment was just so incredible because I, as a kid, had always wanted to see Batman and Superman on the big screen. And I love like Man of Steel. I have nothing to complain about Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel with all my heart. So
Nothing to complain about? You can't think of one thing?
It could have been longer. I kind of wish we'd spend a little more time on Krypton because the Krypton sequence was so good.
When Obi-Wan Kenobi was riding that giant lizard and running away from the space troopers? Yeah, I remember that part too. It was really good. You can't think of one thing you dislike about that movie?
I think maybe I would have changed a little bit of dialogue between Jonathan and Clark about should I have let them die, Dad? Like
it's a very again, we're talking about a director who, when you allow him to be an auteur and don't edit his stuff and let him speak in the full expression of something, all of the director's cuts of these films I have enjoyed very much. I'm going to let you know, though, that I saw terrible versions of these movies to begin with. And this movie is just another divisive one. I think it resonates with people on so many different levels. I think that I think I just missed that bus because I did pick it up later on. And later on, now going back and seeing that film, you can see so many of the breadcrumbs that he was laying down to then filter into all of these movies. And that character speaks to so much of the Batman that we get as well.
Yeah. It's almost like Zack had a plan, mind of a mastermind. But yeah, I mean, that was other issues maybe I would have had with the film. Like, I probably had him at the time, but then we saw BBS, and then we saw the Snyder cut. It was like, okay, for me, like, so yeah, like I can watch those movies now, and like again, it's like it's seamless to me. But yeah, just getting that announcement because that was the thing. The BBS announcement won Comic-Con because after Warner Brothers was Marvel's turn, and this was Marvel like back in. Taylor, was this Phase 2 when they in 2013 or like what?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
wasn't Phase 2 garbage?
Mostly, yeah. Like the Winter Soldier is like the only good movie.
The Thor movie is nonsense. Like it's crazy. It's nothing.
Guardians of the Galaxy and Winter Soldier were the only redeeming qualities of that phase.
And Guardians doesn't have anything to do with anything else, which is why it feels like a breath of fresh air. And then what was the other? There was another movie in there.
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3. Yeah, and what's so funny is Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3 do not resonate with me. But him as Iron Man, I enjoy in all of his various cameos far more. That third movie was like a James Bond movie, and that's why I didn't like it.
Yeah, once the whole Mandarin twist happened, like I could this is probably the worst thing to happen to someone who has autism and ADHD, which means distraction problem. The moment they did the whole Mandarin twist, I could it took me out of the film completely. I'm like, wait, what? This is this is all the hype you were building up to, and then like the other one who was like the real Mandarin was so lame. So yeah, but like that summer, Warner Brothers actually won Comic-Con with that big BS announcement. All they had to do, the image that Taylor had before, just this one image, won Comic-Con.
What's crazy is, yeah, look at that image. The Mandarin and the way that I think of the Mandarin from the Saturday morning cartoon would 100% fit into what Disney Marvel's doing now. I mean, it's all magic and it's all under the umbrella now. And you could very easily have that villain, but they wouldn't do it then. And we got a weird bait and switch. I mean, I don't know. He got his redemption in Shang-Chi, I guess.
But even then, it wasn't even the real Mandarin.
Right.
Like, I liked that movie a lot for what it was. But at the same time, that is not the Mandarin. That is a mix of the Mandarin and three other characters.
Yeah, 2 or 3 characters and so on that he updated. I want to ask you guys, what? Because I know you guys probably weren't at Comic-Con that summer, but do you guys remember where you were when BBS was announced? Or Taylor, did you already know that was getting announced? Back in the day, were you already in talks with people that told you?
I wasn't familiar of all the details. I knew that the sequel was going to have Batman in it, and that was all I knew.
No, I was the first Man of Steel did not impress me, so I wasn't tuned in for it. And then when we found out they were doing that, I got real excited because it was like, oof, okay, Batman punches people. Batman might make all this more fun. And sadly enough, the first rendition, the first go around of that movie is not the version I prefer. And it left another bad taste in my mouth. The director's cut of that movie is a really great movie. And when I watched that movie, I texted Taylor, was like, he should have made a Batman movie. His Batman movie would have been so good. Telling Alfred, listen, I've already tried all the other ways. Those ways don't work. We have to do this now. It's like, yeah, put on a robot suit. What else are you going to do? And we never got it. And it makes me very sad. And I don't even feel, in Justice League, we did see another version of that, but I just wanted more Batman.
You talk about director's cuts. Like it's weird that we never got a director's cut of Man of Steel, because I don't even think there were deleted scenes on the Blu-ray.
Nope, there wasn't, and there was a lot that was deleted from this movie. Apparently, there was enough Krypton scenes that would have added another 30 minutes of just Krypton. There was also
Which is exactly what Andy asked for more of. Yep. He would have loved to have seen more Krypton.
I never knew that.
I think if Zack put in everything that he filmed for that movie, the movie probably would have been about 3.5, 4 hours. Like, it's a very, very big, lots of stuff that he filmed that he had to take out.
But maybe it should have been. Unfortunately, maybe Zack Snyder only tells a good story in 5 hours, right? Like, maybe he needs this much space to make these things great. Because in its entirety, when you look at these things, you're like, yeah, I can see where everything's going.
Yeah. One thing that I do remember, and this is probably why we never got the director's cut of this, was when I had participated in my interview with Zack Snyder a few years ago. I asked him behind stage what was going on with what Sucker Punch. Where's the director's cut of Sucker Punch? Right? Because I saw Sucker Punch and I liked it, but I also felt like the reason why people didn't understand it was because they didn't understand that 90% of that movie was one character telling it as a story to a little girl.
Yeah, Sucker Punch is a movie that did not sit well with me. Do not like that movie. Yeah. Have many problems with that movie as well.
But at the same time, there was a lot of stuff that they cut out of it, and the director's cut probably would have been more your thing. So I asked him, why has there not been one? And he said the problem with director's cuts as a whole always has to do with pre-existing licenses for distribution. If a TV channel has bought a distribution right for X amount of years, or like HBO buys it or whatever, you will then have to renegotiate the film from the ground up to redo the director's cut and to release it. So with BVS, they knew the director's cut was coming before they even negotiated the rights for the TV version. And then that's why, according to Zack, why Zack Snyder's Justice League could not have been released as a theatrical film, and why it had to stick to streaming, and then why it also wasn't allowed to be broken up into a series because of all the pre-existing deals that existed with Justice League 2016. So there was a lot of behind the scenes red tape that has to exist for director's cut.
That's some real inside baseball stuff that I never even thought about. But it would be a big deal if you spend a shit ton of money to play your movie on TBS and then there's like a better version of it. You want people to watch TBS and wait through the 90 seconds to get back to Lord of the Rings, to get back to whatever the thing is. So
Yeah, I think what's just so weird to me is that, okay, I understand they couldn't release it as like a weekly 6-part series, but it's like, because the way I understood that they were gonna, when they initially announced it, it sounded like it was gonna be like, we were still gonna get the whole thing the same day, but there would be like specific like chapter options, which we never had.
No, so the initial announcement was that they were going to do it on a week by week basis, and it was going to be
okay. That misunderstood.
The announcement, the movie that we got with the chapter breaks, those were the episodes. Like, that was what it was supposed to be. And he even released separately the introductions to each of those episodes on the internet. You can like Google Zack Snyder's Cyborg intro or Batman intro, and it's like this like 45-second long little cinematic where it looks like a painting. Those things are out there. Those were meant to be his intros. But bunch of stuff behind the scenes happened and he couldn't release it. I mean, there's even a legal issue with them calling it Zack Snyder's Justice League and not just Justice League. So, I mean, they had to fight legal red tape to release it as the movie that they did because of the fact that it was
Does everybody
essentially
understand?
the same movie.
Yeah. Does everyone understand that garbage company got bought by Discovery? Do you understand? Like, these are the issues that drove all the talent away from this place, and why they're having to go back and find these people now.
But
Yeah.
question: what legal advantages did they have of being able to be like, no, you can't call it Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Oh, because they couldn't rebrand it. It was a director's cut of a movie that already came out.
So what would they have
Legally-
called it? So what did they want to call it?
Initially, they were going to have to call it Justice League Director's Cut. Like, that was what legally they were allowed to call it, but they had to actually go through and do some legal behind-the-scenes stuff to get the name changed, because the argument was that because enough of the movie was different, it could be rebranded.
But also think about what the statement is when we say, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Every time we say it, it is promotion for that director. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah,
a part of it.
It's genius.
It is, but it's true of lots of other movies as well. You wouldn't talk about Terminator 2 without bringing up James Cameron. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That is his Terminator. He dictated what the Terminator became. All the other movies are a remake of Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. God, this company. Like,
There's a lot of stuff behind the
every
scenes.
time I think I've heard enough, someone like Taylor or something will be like, "Actually, hold my beer. I have another story." So thank God, I would never want to work for them.
Well, there are new people now, and we'll see what happens. Has anything of incident happened as of yet with this new SnyderCon? I'm assuming they've sold out all the tickets.
They sold out all the tickets.
Have guests flown into town? I mean, is there any rumblings
Yes.
in terms of those things?
Yes, there are people already in town prepping for this weekend. That's all I can say. I mean, I'm not going to be like, oh, by the way, this is who I heard's in town. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Taylor's gonna be there. He's gonna be on stage with Zack.
I'm not actually.
He actually is gonna be there. He's gonna
Taylor has actual life responsibilities. If they wanted Taylor, he would have
No,
needed to plan this 6 months in
wait.
advance.
Here's the scoop that Taylor's not telling us. He was supposed to play Ted Cord in Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2, and he was gonna be Blue Beetle, and that's actually his costume you see in the Blue Beetle trailer. In the trailer, you know, they took Taylor's costume.
Yeah, no.
he's like, I would never want to be Ted Cord.
No, Ted Cord's a fantastic character. I would love to play Ted Cord, but the reality is that I did flirt with the idea of making it. I did try to look at the ideas, but realistically, where I live now and all the minutia of details to try to get there would have been too tricky. I know I could have stayed with Michael and we could have driven.
I was about to say, I have a bed for you. Anytime you want to come, I can take care of that. But all the other stuff we'd have to figure out. And I can't help you with any of your life stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, great, you can come here, but what about your baby?
Exactly.
So you stay with Uncle Michael.
Ugh, my niece and nephews call me Uncle Mike. They're the only people that call me Mike in my life. I allow it because I'm their uncle, but I hate it. I don't want to be called. I'm not an Uncle Mike. Do I work out of my car? No, I'm not. I'm a Michael.
It's funny because I've never actually called you Mike, but your name in my phone is Mike.
Ugh, gross. Disgusting. In the fourth grade, Mike C came and I became Michael S, and I will go by Michael S because that is my moniker.
Yeah, I don't even know why I think it was because I had so many different Michaels in my phone.
I don't like that. I should be the only Michael. Just put me as Santel.
All right, first off, it's my middle name as well, and my son's middle name as well, and my grandpa's and my dad's and my great grandpa. Like, there's a lot of Michaels in my life.
I get it. It's a played out name. I'm just saying I should be in the top 8 of your MySpace Michaels.
Because so having MySpace.
Yeah,
I remember us all having MySpaces, but I never remember you having an account.
No, never did it. I didn't.
I only had MSN before Facebook.
Oh, you got to get an AIM. AIM was where it was at.
I mean, but Taylor, you talk about like how you couldn't make it. But I mean, like, do you really think this is the last SnyderCon?
That's where it gets tricky.
Of these movies, probably the next one he's going to be showing the unedited version of his Netflix movie. I mean, he's still working. You know what I mean? He's so prolific.
I do firmly believe that Zack Snyder's trilogy was Zack Snyder's trilogy. By calling the event Full Circle, that implies that you're going back to where you began, and that doesn't mean that you're going back to where you began so you can begin again. That means that you're ending full circle. I don't see Zack stopping everything he's doing right now to jump back into making movies for a studio. You know, I mean, he has creative freedom. He has a shared universe that he's building with Netflix. And
yeah, that's what I was kind of mean. Like, couldn't SnyderCon continue up for Army of the Dead?
No, it'll 100%. I can see Zack Snyder doing another SnyderCon in like a year or two, and it being about Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead.
That's what I was going at. Like, you know, I mean, for me, listen, I love the Snyderverse as much as anyone else does, but it's like I'm not expecting there to be any like surprise announcement of, you know, guess what, I am doing Justice League 2 and 3. The only thing I could ever see him is like, you know what, we're gonna wrap it up in a graphic novel, but next SnyderCon is gonna be about Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead, and
that's something that is definitely possible. And I want to say that filming a live action movie is not on the table. That's something that's probably not going to happen. And if it does happen, then I have so many questions of how they're going to pay for it and how they're going to get everyone in that room and make that happen.
But what about a cartoon?
Exactly. During the phases of the death of Warner Brothers before Discovery came in, there were conversations about finishing it as a graphic novel. There were conversations about doing it in animation. Zack himself has done animation before and has still multiple animated projects coming up in the future. So,
I didn't know he could draw. He could draw I knew he could draw story, but I didn't know he could like animate.
No, I mean Zack himself. I mean, he went to school for painting and then switched to be a director. Like he has artistic ability. He draws every single one of his own storyboards, but he does have animation directing background. He made that one CGI owl movie years ago. Like he knows how to direct animation.
Legends of the Guardians, the Legends of Gaul.
It's a beautiful movie. He's done more animated stuff in the last few years.
He's also got his animated prequel miniseries for Army of the Dead. He's also got his Twilight of the Gods animated series coming out for Netflix, and then he's also got a Rebel Moon one coming out as well. So he's got multiple animated projects currently in development. So, and from what I have seen, the animation style for the Army of the Dead prequel series is very similar to that Arcane show. So it's not childish animation. It's very clean and like, oh, this is very cool. Let me see.
Oh, this is actually kind of sick. This is actually kind of
cool. It's a very, very beautiful style of animation. So it's very unique. Let me see if I can just grab a random picture so people can get an idea of what I'm talking about. Because it is, I remember when I first saw a picture of it and it was just one of the characters and I was like, oh, that's very pretty looking. And then I saw Arcane shortly after. I'm like, that looks very familiar. But it's a very unique style of animation where obviously it's clearly animated, but it's also not Adventure Time or anything like that. Like it's very serious style of animation, which I think is fantastic. So I could very much see Zack finishing his project via animation in this style solely because the benefits of animation are very clear. You can animate the entire project. You control every ins and outs, every frame, every detail, that exactly how you want it. And then you can have everyone record their lines separately. They don't need to get in superhero shape. They don't need to get in any sort of shape. No makeup department, no CGI department, none of that stuff to make everything work. I mean, a lot of people are complaining. Yeah, and a lot of people are complaining that the Flash movie CGI looks funky, but I think it looks fine. But you don't get those arguments at all if it's all in animation.
Right.
So,
well, how does it look funky? Like, it
looks funky. I saw the funk already. Did you not see the funk? Did you not notice any of the funk?
Give me timestamps and I will look at it.
Okay, here's a timestamp for you. when the bat plane drops everyone out and they like come at the camera like a 1970s cartoon, they're like da 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 da. That was some fun jank. Also, you should have put. I'm happy. I'm glad they're putting Batman in daytime, but when you put Batman in daytime, you know it's a thing. You're seeing more than you should. He's supposed to be smoking mirrors.
Well, I mean, the fact that Ben Affleck didn't film anything in the Batsuit, I mean, we know that.
Wait, what?
He said himself that the only scenes that he filmed physically only 5 minutes of scenes, which were the scenes with him in the alleyway. Everything of him in the suit on the motorcycle flying through the air, that's all CGI. That's all fake Ben.
Not to mention the fact we talked to the guy that trained for that fight scene, and that guy's also Batman, and that guy's amazing.
Yeah.
This kind of being told like Santa Claus doesn't exist, Taylor things.
The janky CGI that he's talking about is like this shot.
Stuntmen should be winning Academy Awards. Yeah, that one. No, not necessarily in this shot. This looks fine, but when they're coming at camera, it looks like it looks like a commercial for toys.
Yeah, the sliding moment up until this
sliding moment. That's what Taylor. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Also, it was weird. It was weird when they're like, "Do you know what this means?" And it's the S of Superman, and they're like, "Hope," but like it looks like she's pointing at her boobs. It's a weird boob shot. I don't know. It's like. No,
I'm so excited for Sasha as Supergirl. It kind of pisses me off. Like, I mean, unless this movie is like gangbusters successful, like I don't know if James is going to use her for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, but like
he's not. The reality is that
none of this is canon. This is all movies that were bought and paid for and need to come out because when you don't release movies, people start suing you over it. Because Taylor,
with the exception of Blue Beetle, like we shouldn't look at Aquaman 2 and Flash as like having anything to do with the new DC universe. Like,
no, and unfortunately, Aquaman 2 is going to suffer from its own problems because a lot of people who showed up for the first movie and loved it are not going to be thrilled with the sequels taking this whole global warming, polar ice caps melting stance, and the whole plot line is about let's save the earth. People are not responding to the preview showings of it, and I don't know if audiences are going to take to it either. So,
well, as long as people show for Blue Beetle, that's all I honestly care for. I need that movie to succeed because
why?
Because I love Jaime Reyes is like one of the few brown superheroes I have, and I love Jaime since Young Justice. We will not talk about. Sorry.
Even if it doesn't succeed, that doesn't mean that James isn't going to use the character. James wants all of these characters to exist, and if the movies fail, the reality is if the movies fail, like Shazam failed, Black Adam failed, he's still going to use those characters. He's just going to have to reboot them.
Was Blue Beetle on that picture he released, the cartoon picture that you showed me? Is Blue Beetle on there?
What cartoon picture?
Taylor showed me a mock-up sketch that James Gunn had put on his Twitter, and it shows all of these heroes, and the caption was something like
Blue Beetle was on that, yeah.
Okay, then Blue Beetle's going to be around.
If the movie fails, then it fails. But Blue Beetle is going to exist in this universe one way or the other.
So it would still be Zolo. It would still be.
Probably not. If the movie fails, they'll recast everybody from the ground up to show that it's a reboot.
That's what I don't want. That's why I want this movie to be successful, so that.
Sorry, bro. George Lopez is gone.
I don't know. I'm so angry with people who didn't support Black Adam. So I'm like, I'll forgive you if you go support Blue Beetle. Do we know what the budget is for that one, Taylor?
It got expanded. It
got expanded. More... It was a small budget like Batgirl. I think it was only supposed to be like a $90 million budget, but the budget did get expanded when they tried to up the game to make it theatrical worthy.
It reminds me of Star Kid. I'm a big fan of Star Kid. I'm excited to see him interact with other things in the DC universe. I'm excited to see his story on a big screen.
Well, either way, I want Blue Beetle to be successful. It sounds like Blue Beetle has been testing well compared to Shazam and Aquaman.
But do you think
Yeah, I mean,
Aquaman leaves such a bad taste? What comes out first, Blue Beetle or Aquaman?
Blue Beetle.
Okay.
It will
Aquaman's
be
a
right
Christmas
after
movie.
for some reason.
And we get Flash in 2 months?
In
Mhm.
June.
Well, if people are those in Vegas, they're getting it right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, people are watching it literally right now, this second at CinemaCon.
Got it.
Um,
Are they allowed to say what their experiences are with the movie?
No.
No.
But you're gonna leaks are gonna happen. So people that are stay off the internet. I think the funniest thing is probably gonna be the reveal of the super secret awesome cameo that's gonna like break the internet.
Sure. But I mean, that's what people wanted. I mean, that's what we
Yeah.
want in all of these movies. And the
you
fact
know what's
that
ironic
we
though?
can't get it.
They're not even. This is apparently the version they're showing tonight is not
Not
even the
even finished.
final. Yeah. So it's like I don't. Well, duh.
Yeah. That's gonna
But
be
that's gonna be that's
scene.
gonna be amazing. It's about that time. But yeah, I mean, I watched the Flash trailer. Like, it doesn't look funky to me. Like, it looks like it looks. I mean, it looks pretty finished.
Yeah. Well, either way, we did get off topic quite a bit. One of the things that I did want to bring up as we get.
Do you have any more painful childhood memories you want to drop into this episode?
I can't believe that's how you like. That's how you.
Anyways,
we were in a car. We were in a minivan in Utah.
Anyways. So this weekend is a AFSP fundraiser giveaway event. The Full Circle event that is going on along with this weekend is anyone who donates to the special link that has been generated by Zack and Co. Gets put in for a drawing. And this is a fun way to kind of support the AFSP. I mean, obviously, you're going to support American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. You're going to support it because of the cause. But if you are willing to support more, you get thrown into a drawing of some fun things. If you donate just a minimum of $1, you can be in the drawing for the AFSP Full Circle poster, the Man of Steel statue poster right there. You will be in the drawing for that poster signed by Zack. If you donate more than $10, you will actually be in a drawing for a model of Kal-El's spaceship that's signed by Zack, an actual statue of the pod. $25. This is a cool one because this is one that I've wanted. The actual LPs of Zack Snyder's Justice League soundtrack, the fantastic LP soundtrack that they did.
What's an LP?
Records.
Oh, like those like big CD, like big black
The
CDs.
vinyls, yes.
They're not CDs, they're vinyls. I'll show you some. They're amazing.
I'll just pull up a picture so that people know what I'm talking about because apparently there's a lot of people in this generation, not just poking at you, Andy, a lot of people in this generation who don't know what an LP is. And there's also
they're not records.
A lot of hipsters like me who love vinyls. I have my two favorite vinyls next to me right here. I got the Mondo Tron Legacy vinyl.
That's a banger.
Oh, that's
and
sweet.
Then the other version of the same one. So I had to own them both because they're so good.
Taylor, I didn't know you were a records guy.
I love records, and I'm not even opening these ones. I want to put this on I want to put this in a frame on like the wall or something. Like this is a cool one.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should put them on like a nice shelf, like on like a good wall.
All right, so here is the 7 LP box set that Zack had released previously. It's in a nice black box. Each one of the discs has its own sleeve based on one of the characters, and this set will be up for the giveaway signed by Zack. So if you donate $25 or more, you're in the running for that. If you donate $50 or more, you get a 1/12 scale Batman v Superman Batmobile signed by Zack. That's what you're in the drawing for there. It's a really cool, and he's shown these ones before. It's almost like Hot Toys level quality statues. Like this is a very nice statue. And then lastly, if you donate $100 or more, you get an actual custom-made 1/6 scale Heroes Park monument, the actual statue from this poster, signed by Zack. And mind you, 1/6 scale means that this fucker's probably going to be like this big because that statue is like 20 feet tall. So 1/6 scale means the thing is going to be at least a foot or bigger. So it's
And
gonna
if
be
you're
a big
just
statue.
listening to this on the podcast, Taylor's hands were like a really big fish, like a really big fish. It's a big fish toy.
Yeah, like in that the scene from New Girl when he goes like this, like no, I'm starting over. It was like at the maximum before I had to start over.
Yeah,
There's
The fact,
like
that
yeah.
Taylor, the fact that Taylor just name dropped New Girl was a reference I never thought he would make.
He's got
Oh, I
a
love that
wife. I
show.
guarantee you she watches it all the time. And he's
No,
just
I
in
actually
the
made her
room.
watch it with me because she didn't know what it was. I love that show. Unapologetically love that show.
I love Schmidt
Um,
and Nick. That's all.
The
but
first
no, so
3 seasons are pretty good.
I think the whole show is pretty good. It does have a lump in the middle, but it circles back. So for those who do want to go to this, the actual link is on the screen here, supporting.afsp.org/campaign/full circle. And for those of you who are watching and you have your phones handy, go ahead and scan that QR code right there. That will take you right there. Initially, their goal was $3,000, and so far, they're about $5,500 raised. So I did donate some money myself. I don't expect to win anything at all. I don't care if I win or not. I'm donating because of the cause. So if you want to donate and help support the movement, help support the cause, scan that QR code, go to that website, and donate to the AFSP. And obviously the perks, if you win one of these things, awesome. But we don't donate to win perks. We donate to help people. So that's the point.
That's really sweet. That's really sweet that they're doing all this.
Yeah, I mean, the movement itself has gained so much. Let me see if I can pull up the official numbers, because there's so many things that they have raised because of this. There's so many different ones for Zack Snyder. The AFSP has so much stuff listed for Autumn. I think it is over $1 million. Yeah.
There you go. So I was like looking at your background because again, I keep forgetting you all have all these like geek stuff. I've just been glaring at the Justice League poster.
It's a towel.
It's a towel.
It's a great.
Yeah.
It's a great.
I
It's
was
a
gonna
great
say
towel.
towel. I was gonna say towel, but I was afraid of offending him if it wasn't a towel.
Who said it's a towel, Michael?
Walls are right. Towels are just tapestries. You just put it on your wall. It's a tapestry.
But my new addition, just because we're off topic, is over here. All the Gundams that I'm building, I'm turning their boxes into just art pictures, and when I'm done with them, I'm just slapping them onto an art, making a collage of all the art.
Very cool.
So that's my new one that I'm adding to the wall here. And for people who want to see what else, I do have a wall of Funkos.
Taylor,
oh my god,
that's crazy! I had no wait. Go back to that.
Yeah. And can you full screen yourself so we can
There's
see?
so many Funko Pops. Are you done buying Funko Pops?
No, but there's my 3D printer right there too. And then above it are all my McFarlane figures. I have 2 giant rows of
Oh my
McFarlane
god.
figures.
Taylor, send me one of your extra Funko Pops.
No, they're all worth something. So if you can see up top over here,
Yeah.
that's Man of Steel Superman right there.
Yeah.
And then Zack Snyder's Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. That row is Zack Snyder's Justice League, these 3. Beneath it, more of those. I got all the limited editions. This set right here, let me see if I can line it up.
Kind of looks like America. There's Florida.
This set right here is the 4-pack that you could get, and apparently it's worth a few $100s now because not a lot of people got them.
Sure.
I literally have every
Joker
Funko from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like all the Funkos that they put out, I have, including like I think I have the Dark Side and the Throne somewhere around here.
It just comes with a free toilet.
No, I think it's on the. No, it's actually in the back here. It's behind Megatron. That's he's sitting in his big stone throne.
Do you end up having to buy 2 of all these toys because your kids want to play with them, and you're like, no, that's Daddy's Funko?
No, I mean I buy the Funkos for myself. They don't play with them, but
they're not even allowed in their room, are they?
No, my son comes in here all the time. He doesn't care.
He's allowed to look but not touch.
Here, to give an idea, this is my. I'm going to just take a picture of it so instead of like moving the camera around, I have the entire wave of McFarlane figures on the wall there,
Oh my god!
including
They look like comic books.
I have 2 of the armored Darkseids right there, and 1 of the armorless Darkseid, Steppenwolf, and then the rest of the run, including all the variants, like all 3 Batman figures, both Flash figures, both Cyborg figures, and then beneath it are my other random ones. Like these 4 in the back corner are the brand new the Dark Knight trilogy for like Build-A-Bane set. I got the maskless Michael Keaton figure from the Flash, and then just the other random one, the Batman wave.
Did you get UXS?
Are you missing any
of what?
The McFarlane toys?
No, I mean not of the Zack Snyder's set. I have the whole set.
Did you have? Do you have UXS? UXS? Yeah, what? How you say his name?
I have what?
Darkseid. When Darkseid was from the history lessons.
Yes, yeah, that's what I just said. Let me.
Well, you said you had 3 that Darkseid, but I wasn't sure if that included the UXS version.
Yeah, no. Look, let me just zoom in. I have armored Darkseid, so that's the one with the blue armor. Armored Darkseid again, Yaxis, Darkseid normal, and then Steppenwolf. So I do have 2 of the blue armored Darkseids, along with the one without the shirt.
What Steppenwolf is it? Is it the one from the Snyder? Which version? The
only good one.
Okay.
Yeah, like these are all Zack Snyder's Justice League. Do you have any Mafex figures? I don't actually have any Mafex figures. I don't know how I feel about I mean, they're expensive, right? I mean, the last time I saw a Mafex figure, I think it was like my comic shop was selling one figure for $90, and it was like too much for one figure.
I got this out of a grab bag. Little Golden Boy Gohan.
By the way, just for the record, Superman beats Goku.
I understand why you have to say that, and that's fine. I don't think you understand what Kakarot can do. So
all I understand is that I think Dragon Ball is pretty overrated.
Yeah, again, I understand why you think these things, but you just don't.
Do you understand why Naruto is way better than Dragon Ball, though?
No, it's not.
You can absolutely
Michael, this is to answer your question.
I tried to watch Naruto, and Naruto is not good. I don't understand what you're talking about. It's a bunch of nonsense running around, hanging out in a fucking park doing ninja shit. It's not good.
What's Dragon Ball? You know, about a bunch of people that just evolve into weird forms of themselves and chasing Dragon Balls.
Goku, it is about family. It is about your chosen family. It is about an adventure bigger than life itself.
Naruto is that too.
I need to watch more Naruto. I totally hear you. I'm sure the show gets good, but the first 6 episodes were tough to get through.
Anyways, just gonna mute you guys because you could stop arguing about Naruto. This is the Steppenwolf figure that you're asking about, Michael.
So that's a great figure.
Yeah, and it's really spiky and really pointy all over.
It's very detailed.
Yeah. My only gripe with the McFarlane figures have been the sculpts have been fantastic. The painting not so much sometimes. So. I personally, my son wanted the tactical Batsuit Batman, and then he wanted me to repaint it. So I actually repainted it and then added all the colors. And I'll have to find out of a box somewhere. I took a picture of it on my Vero.
That's a good fodder. That's a good fodder.
I was like, I never took a picture. I did take a picture of it.
That's so cool, making the toys better, Taylor.
Let me find the picture because it was a big project where I basically took the figure apart, repainted it and put it all back together.
You took it
there we go. Yeah, to do some of the detailing you have to do that.
How do you do it casually? Ooh,
so I redid all the lines, I redid the darkness. As you can see, there's the yellow buckles have been re-added to everything. I did all the yellow dots, redid all the painting on it. Yeah, so I mean there was a lot of like little details that they didn't do. Like they didn't do the coloring around the goggles. You had to redo that. Same on the neck. There's another dark piece there. Redid the chest plate and all the screws and the bolts, all the colors. They're all one color, so I had to redo it all.
Damn, bro.
It was a lot of fun. He also wanted me to redo his one for the Batman because Pattinson's Batsuit also had some other colors that they didn't include on the figure, but lots of stuff like that. But no, it's a fantastic little fun thing to have. And the way it's always been is that if my kids wanted a figure, I'll typically buy 2, and one for the collection, one for them to play with. So That's how that goes.
And that's how that goes.
That's
How that goes.
I mean, I may have to send you one of my figurines at some point, like if I need some customization.
Yeah, I mean, since I build Gundams a lot, I do have my little. And this is my my Wayland Wutai ammo box from Alien, but it's also all my paints.
Yeah.
So I do that.
You never mentioned you could do this.
I paint. I mean, I actually can paint.
Taylor is an art guy. He was always a doodler. He always had an art book. He would always do. He would just draw.
There's one that I'm starting for my son that I never finished, but it was Batman's origin. I just haven't finished it.
Oh my god!
Batman's great.
Crying.
Yeah. I don't know if you should give your kids with pictures about dead parents, though. Maybe just an action scene or something up top.
No. I mean, you have to have the dead Waynes, under the light pole, crying Batman, young Bruce Wayne seeing a bat in the window, and then Batman. You have to have the evolution of the character.
You know what you could do? You could finish up for his like 18th birthday or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, give yourself another decade.
Yeah, I mean, it's been sitting there incomplete for like 5 years, anyways. I'll give myself another chunk of time.
All right. Well, if we're talking about Funko Pops and your beautiful toy collection, Taylor, it is time to wrap this episode.
It is time to wrap it up. But again, on the same note that we were going for, the initial road to SnyderCon, Zack Snyder's Justice League was a huge, huge thing for the internet. And above all, the whole point of it is to donate to the AFSP. So one more time, I'm going to bring this up. The Full Circle AFSP fundraiser giveaway. You donate $1, you get in for a drawing for the signed poster. You donate $10, you're in for a drawing to get the actual StarCraft ship signed by Zack. $25 donation, you're in the drawing for the vinyl collection. $50, you're in the running for the Batmobile signed by Zack. $100, you're in for the actual one-of-a-kind, handmade Man of Steel Heroes Park statue. And for those of you sitting at home, go ahead, scan that QR code, go to the donations, start donating, because when I started this, we were at just about 5,500. Those things definitely can change on the drop of a hat. So I'm really hoping some people start donating, because it's a lot of cool stuff. Just for the fact that this is the whole point of the movement, is to donate and help people. But on that note, thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for being a part of this conversation with us. If you're at home, scan that QR code, follow us on the socials. And on a special note, this weekend, as the SnyderCon event is happening, I have been invited to be one of the mini shows that will be doing a kind of a sit-down, hangout, and talk SnyderCon while the event is going on. So from this Saturday early afternoon, from 1:30 to 3, I believe is the time I've got, leading up to the actual Q&A session, we will be live talking about the movement, talking about the movie, maybe doing a watch along of our own. Maybe Michael and I can start the movie at noon and just have it in the background and start talking about the movie while we're watching it.
Which movie are we going to play in the background?
BVS.
Yeah, we can do that. Absolutely, we can do that.
Yeah. So that's probably what I'm going to do. We'll start it. Michael and I will start it so that it ends at 3, and then at 1:30 we will go live. We'll talk about what we've saw so far, and then go from there. But thank you all for joining us. And on that note, we will see you Saturday. Bye.
See you on Saturday, everybody. Thank you, Andy. Sorry we didn't get you on Prime. We'll get you next time. Later, y'all.
Bye.